It's a method to why it's still loose. I'm afraid it might be tangled in it. Right. When I went to that site. That's a part that's natural.
They know some production information. Got you.
Check. Sorry. Yeah, but it's not college. You are That's okay. I had one this
The Westminster has yeah, there we go.
Don't laugh at me. I'm little headed. I'm little headed.
These are the fifth adjustment.
Corey. I'm just saying, come join the circle. That's all. These three for you. See, perfect. That's fine, Jason. We're good. 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 Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Let's try this again. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
How's everyone doing tonight?
Good.
So first and foremost, we want to say thank you for coming out. We know for most of you, this is a long, long day. There's some of you who have been up since about 5:30, 6 o'clock, whether you want safe passage or whether you want in another capacity of your job duties. So we want to say thank you for taking the time out for Trenton. We want to say thank you for coming out and being a part of this process. This is about us as a community, not about one organization, not about one individual. This is about the betterment of Trenton. Are we on the same page?
Yes.
All right, with that being said, we're going to do like we usually do when we get started here. We're going to introduce ourselves. What you're going to do is say your name, your organization, and this is your first time attending thesis. So I will start to my left.
Good evening, everyone. Joyce Holiday Spirit to you. My name is Amin. I'm from the Trenton Community Street Team Virtual Education Program. And also, I'm the outreach coordinator for the Neighborhood Community Association. Welcome. I'm glad to see you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kalisha Spence, and I'm with the Trenton Community Street Team. I'm one of the high-risk interventionists, and I'm also part of the VIP program. And I'm also newly promoted today as program manager. This is not my first name.
Good evening, everyone. Happy holidays, everybody. My name is Corey Ingram, and I'm happy to announce that this is probably my 10th thesis right here. I am the clinical director for IYI and Street Teams. This is what I do. Thank you all.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jamel from the Trenton Community Street Team. I'm a safe passage worker and hybrid. This is not my first time.
Jason Rogers, Chairperson, Fathers of Men United for a Better Trenton. The high-risk individuals, Trenton Community Street Team, Safe Passage Supervisor.
Hi, everybody. I'm T.H.E.S.I. I'm here from Princeton University, where I teach and do research on clouds. I've been lucky enough to get on board with Heather and Perry and this crew for the past couple of years, and I've been to a bunch of these meetings, thankfully. But this time, students with me were scattered around.
Hi, everyone. I'm Maddie. I'm a student in this class. And Kate and I together were lucky enough to get to visit TCST and have some conversations with these guys a couple weeks ago. It's my first thesis meeting. I'm very happy to be here.
My name is Gabriel. I'm also a student in Professor Trenton's class. It's my first thesis meeting.
Hi everyone, I'm Laura from COO of the community for the first group of Trenton Community. So so happy to see our colleagues in the room back there. And I apologize, I will have to do that just to be an hour and a half, but someone has to.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lulu. I am a permanent housing case manager with Norfolk.
Welcome.
Hi, everyone. My name is Yuri. I'm with section.
Taylor Crawford, and I'm with the Sub Foundation, and this is my picture.
Welcome.
My name is Lee Roberts. I'm environmental creativity. This is my first time.
Welcome.
Hello, my name is Bruce Stevens. I am from People Community Outreach. And this is my first time.
Welcome.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ryan. Working with Professor Sharkey. Practice as a teacher, public school, assistant principal. My first.
Welcome.
Hello, I'm Latanya Ashford, and I'm the newly promoted Dean of the James Gurney
Oh,
Campus.
Good evening, everybody. Jay Lonsdale. I'm there with the Trenton team.
Welcome.
Joseph Jones Jr., Trenton Community Street Team, Outreach, and
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Lucy, and this is her first time at the July 6th, and I have been here and my first time.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Alex Rodriguez, I have
Hi, my name is Nicole Kitchen, administrator, managers,
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Walter Roberts, transportation. I'm senior for maintenance.
My name is Chester Jones. I'm the founder and CEO of the Trenton Athletic Center. And we are led to our Trenton youth to become student athletes. I'm also a former amplification grant recipient, and this is not my first time.
Good evening, everyone. Stacy Benton, Director of Youth College here at James Gurney Campus. This is not my first meeting.
Torres, I'm with Turn for 15. I'm an outreach worker for responder. This is my first meeting.
Welcome.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Shavonna Morgan with Trenton Restorative Street Team, outreach worker first responder.
Hello, HOI, Triple Social Street Team. It's not operating.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sylvia Milton, assistant coordinator for the outreach program.
Hi, everyone. Charlene Phelps, 420, is what we call me. I work for Mercer Council on alcoholism and drug addiction. This is my first time.
Welcome.
Blessings, everyone. My name is Dr. Monique Clark, and I'm the founder. Yes, right. I'm the founder of and lead consultant for Agape Healing Incorporated, as well as I represent Europe Youth College, College, and this is not my first meeting. Oh, and I am a past youth application awardee.
I am Veronica Kendrick. I'm the response team coordinator for Youth Lead Home and Home Space. This is not my first time.
Hey, everybody, my name is Rick Cabot. I'm the Seaside coordinator for Trenton Community Street Team, and this is not my first time.
Good morning, everybody. Good evening, everybody. My name is Leroy Brown. I'm here with Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, and this is my first time.
Welcome.
Hello, everyone. My name is James Sykes. I'm also a graduate student here with Pat Sharkey, and this is my first meeting.
Welcome.
Hi, everyone. I'm Clara, also a graduate student with the T.H.E.S.I team, and my first time.
Welcome.
Hi, everyone. My name is Blaine Intense, also a graduate student working with Patrick Sharkey, and I'm really excited to be here. It's my first time.
Welcome.
Hi, my name's Sandy Higgins. I'm with IELTS, and
And this is definitely not my
OG.
Hello, everyone. Before I begin, I want to say welcome to the students that didn't get a welcome from the beginning. So you are very welcome. We're happy to have all of you here. But I noticed over here, you two did not get a welcome, so welcome. My name is Heather Johnson Smith. Health and blessings to you all. I am honored to serve as operations manager of Trenton Street Team.
Hi, everybody. My name is Deja Frank. I'm an outreach specialist, resource person, and T.H.E.S.I.S for
Hello, everyone. My name is Vincent Hall. I'm a high-risk interventionist in the Trenton Street Team, Director of Communication for Razor-Sharp Barbershops.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Nevaeh Hollett. I'm the communications coordinator for Trenton Community Street Team.
Good evening once again, everyone. My name is Perry Shaw III. I am Executive Director of Building Better Way for Trenton and also Director of Trenton Community Street Team. Do me a favor, everybody. Give yourselves a round of applause.
Yeah.
I know it's been said multiple times, but welcome, 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 and welcome. And happy holidays.
Yes.
Once again, we know the holidays can be very hectic, but you all are taking time out to be here because you care about this beautiful city. And so I just want to give a little background about why we're here and why it's important that we continue to communicate. We are here because we love the city of Trenton. And we understand that the city of Trenton is not a bad place. Being realistic, we have 0.1% of the people in our community who are committing 50% of the crime. But a lot of times what gets amplified and what gets elevated is negativity. We have love, we have peace, we have art, we have talent. We have collaboration. But one of the things that we don't do well enough in Trenton is communicate. That's why we're here, to break that barrier of communication, to make sure that we go across lines and we amplify the work. We amplify the fact that we all are part of the public safety ecosystem. Whether you're an educator, whether you're a street team member, or even law enforcement, everyone has a role in the public safety ecosystem. Those may say, you know what, law enforcement does their thing, they lock people up. Organizations like ours and Restorative Street Team, we lock down situations before they escalate. That's our purpose. That's our mission. We see things through a different lens. We see violence as a public health crisis, full stop. We understand that we did not get here by mistake. A lot of what has occurred has been intentional. Disinvestments in our community, whether that's housing, whether that's education, whether that's health, mental, physical, maternal, we understand those things. Organizations like all of ours together are support systems. We're connected. That's why we're here. So we're not going to belabor the time. We have an agenda we're going to try and stick to. And we want to try and get you out here on time. Is that okay? Yeah. And as we move along, we have a great presentation from Princeton University that gives you a lens into violence and also the city of Trenton. Because in order for us to grow in this space, in order for us to continue to have programming like this, we have to utilize something that people do not utilize enough, and that's data. Data is the lifeblood of any organization. Data will keep us moving and flowing in the right direction. We should not fear data. We need to understand that we come across data every single day. If you follow basketball, those stats, those rebounds, those points, that's data. We have to understand that we have to utilize the data to continue to support the efforts in our city. I want to say thank you in advance to Pat Sharkey and Princeton University. And if you haven't had a chance to have a conversation with Pat, please do so. He's very shy, but I'll amplify his work. Pat has done some great work, not only across the country, but all over the world. He has spent some time with the Aborigine people in Australia. Wow. And they have a street team in Australia. Think about that. Some of the same issues we're dealing with, Black and brown people are dealing with in Australia. We are not unique. There's issues and problems all over the world when it comes to people of color. And Pat here has studied that, has found solutions, has utilized data, has gone into spaces a lot of us wouldn't go. So I want to say thank you for for taking the time out to visit with us. And thank you for sharing your students with us as well. And we look forward to seeing your presentation.
All right.
So with that being said, I just want to give you a few rules of the road. If you need to use the restroom, please go out that door. Not in here. If you would like a snack, please go outside and have your snack. The only thing you're allowed to have in here is water. So, because there's some people who are in charge of this college and we don't want to disappoint them. Because y'all saw she was just sitting like this, like, She was looking at my Sprite the whole time. But all jokes aside, we're going to try and get through this. We want to make sure that we also elevate past youth amplification grantees. Once again, if you receive a grant in the last 12 months from TCST and Building a Better Way for Trenton and ISLES, please raise your hand. Give them a round of applause. And some of you have resubmitted because we announced prior to the closing of this grant cycle that we will be awarding several more grantees as well. And that will be happening at the next meeting, which will be the first meeting of January 2026. So for those who submitted, good luck. With that being said, I'm going to hand the floor over to our operations manager, Ms. Heather Johnson-Smith, who will give some background about our community walk and also some results.
Good evening again, everyone. I'm just looking out at this circle and I am loving it. It seems like it is expanding and that's what we want. So I'm just thrilled that everyone has decided to come and join us on this bitterly cold evening to be a part of the mission, the process, and the goal of elevating our community. So thank you all. I was told beforehand that I really need to keep it short because I have trouble with doing that. So I'm going to move through some points quickly. This is not how I usually would present community walks, but I'm going to try to respond to my director and, be cooperative for once. So we conducted our community walk on December 3rd. The target area was Whitaker and Bayard. So we met at the corner of Whitaker and Bayard. We were accompanied by our wonderful partners. So I have to give a shout out to Unity as always. Thank you so much for your consistent support, Rhonda. And also our partners from Anchor House. And so our community walks have been reconfigured. I know this was discussed at the last thesis, so I'm not going to go into detail. But due to the current climate in our country, we have, again, redesigned our community walk because we don't want any resident in our community to feel uncomfortable in any way, shape, or form. So we used to record responses, like do a little video. We don't do any of that anymore. We just take handwritten notes of what our residents are sharing with us. And then we also reduce the size of staff who are a part of the community walk. So it doesn't have that mob feel when we're out conducting our conversations with community members. We want everyone to feel comfortable. So our community walk is a little more intimate. So those that have been with us can, see and witness the change. And that was purposeful. So with this walk, we had 13 interactions, 3 full-on conversations. I want to be transparent. Due to the area that we were in, there were a lot of Spanish-speaking families. So there was a little bit of a language barrier, but we did work through it. We were able to ascertain that a few individuals were satisfied and happy with living in the area. But this walk was a little bit different. It was more so about the resources that we had. Individuals were so engaged in the resource package that we were offering and the resources that were being offered by our partners as well. And there was one young lady who I believe had a toddler. And when she was approached, she, as soon as she saw that flyer, Toddler's Closet, it's like her eyes lit up. And she said that, she didn't know what she was going to do because she was struggling to, purchase clothing for her little one. So to be able to have that resource in her hand and to be able to direct her and say, look, this number, please call. Our creator of Toddler's Closet is very responsive. She is on it. And so, again, that young lady was very excited to receive that flyer. So I want to end by saying that as we were conducting our walk, we also ran into a gentleman from the Watson Center by the name of Solomon, who was coming to join us, but it was the tail end of our walk. but we were able to have a conversation with him to engage, and he really was able to lift up the need for connection within the community. Because again, we always say there's a lot of resources here, a lot of things that are available to people, but our residents are not aware. They don't know. And so that's the gap that we're trying to fill so that we can share all the great resources that all of our family members deserve and have a right to, so that they can have a better quality of life. So it was great to meet Solomon and to talk to him as well. Really, I'm going to end now by saying that as we were, again, making our exit, there was one resident who, she took information. She was just coming home from picking up her kids. So she was kind of in a rush, but she did stop to thank us for what we were doing. And she was like, thank you all for doing this. Everyone doesn't do this. And I really appreciate you being out here within our community. So I will end with that. And thank you for your time.
Yay.
So I just want to reiterate two things that Heather said, and she said it so eloquently and also punctually. Thank you. Number one, for our T.H.E.S.I.S Closet, for those who's this is their first time attending, T.H.E.S.I.S Closet was created by a team member by the name of Mo. We call her Monique. We call her Mo, but her name is Monique. And when she first became a part of the team, her thing was she said she wanted to be a blessing to mothers and to parents in general who are struggling. For a lot of parents who have newborn children, they don't have access to a lot of clothes. And so she came up with the concept of getting gently used or new clothes and redistributing to the community members. And that has really grown. It went from being literally a closet to a room. Now it's to a big space on Clinton Avenue. And through T.H.E.S.I.S Closet, we service hundreds of Trentonians on a regular basis. I say that to say, listen, if you want to donate, donate. Whether it's new or gently used. There are a lot of people in our city who are struggling. There are a lot of people who need these resources. And for that mother to basically start crying at that moment really showed that our collective impact is making a big difference. So thank you for that. The last thing before we move on to TCST report out, Heather had mentioned the Watson Institute. For those who don't realize, the Watson Institute is an entity that started in Trenton. It used to be under Thomas Edison State University. It's named after former Assemblyman John S. Watson. He happens to be the father of our current Congresswoman, Bonnie Watson Coleman. The reason why this is important is because the Watson Institute helps to do something that helps all of us. It shapes policy. The reason why that's important is because it shapes policy not only in Trenton, because now they're out of King University. It shapes policy all throughout the state of New Jersey and all over the country. They help shape policy in urban communities. And so a lot of what happens out of King University through the Watson Institute affects all of us. That's why that connection is so very important. I just want to make sure I relayed that message so it doesn't get misconstrued and that we understand when it comes down to it for our community, it's about our collective power for our community. And power happens through policy. With that being said, I'd like to call up TCST so we can do our report outs, please. All departments.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm here to report out for Young Ladies Mentorship. Okay, so my name is Deja Frank again, and this is the second school year of mentorship with the Young Ladies in Ninth Grade Academy. Our current cohort we have 11 young ladies, 6 with regular attendance. We have completed 5 of 8 sessions. Our topics are healthy relationships, boundaries, loving the skin we're in, glow mode, health, and nutrition. That's what we have done so far with the young ladies. And it's been going very well.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alex. I'll be reporting out for the male mentoring as well as the VIP. So for the male mentoring, We've completed 5 out of 8 courses so far. It's a little tough with these kids when you start getting to know them, like on meeting them at their level, and talking their language. You tend to find things out that that these kids are going through, and a lot of it, is based off the community, or it's based off the environment, what's going on around them. What's going on at home. So at least for the time being, when we're with them, we let them express themselves, get it off their chest. It's been successful, and the kids are really, they're really reacting to us being there. So that's for the mentoring. And for the VIP virtual intervention program, a little bit about that. It's a collaboration with Judge Thompson from the Mercer County Courthouse. He recommends the kids to us. These kids are facing, some pretty serious charges, but Judge Thompson, he has hope in them and faith, and he hands them off to us for 60 days. And those 60 days, every day we contact them, we stay, build a relationship with them. We show them something that they're not seeing on a daily basis, and that's, a little bit of hope. So far this year, we've had 36 participants. Currently, we have 3 active, and the completion rate, should I say, is about 99%. The ones who didn't complete, Judge Thompson usually brings them right back around to us. So, we make it happen. It's just good being able to at least help the ones that we can help. That's all I got.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Joseph Jones, Outreach Specialist with Trenton Community Street Team. I'm presenting on behalf of Community Care Supervisor Roberta Cinnamon Martin. So the Community Care Department provides direct support to Trenton residents through case management, crisis intervention, navigation of social services, and resource linkage. Our work supports the broader mission of Trenton Community Street Team by strengthening community stability, reducing barriers, and connecting residents to tools they need to maintain safety, wellness, and self-sufficiency. For this reporting period, our department responded to a wide range of needs, including 7 mental health referrals, 1 mediation case, 6 housing referrals related to violent incidents, 11 housing assistance cases, 21 utility assistance cases, 9 employment service requests, 2 education referrals, 5 vocational requests, and I believe 34 toddlers closet requests, and 3 victim services cases. Key trends this month include a significant rise in utility assistance needs directly connected to colder weather and increased household hardship. A continued high demand for toddler clothing and essentials, reinforcing the role of toddlers closet as a critical stabilizing resource for families. Noticeable increase in grief support, suggesting ongoing emotional strain within the community as we approach the holiday season. Before closing, I want to offer a personal level suggestion for how we can all support the community during the cold winter months. Consider making direct donations of warmth and necessities, coats, blankets, socks, gloves, or even a warm meal directly to individuals or families. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Vincent Hall. I'm the Director of Communications for Razor Sharp Barbershops. Beginning of this year, we collectively got together, Razor Sharp Barbershop, Trenton Community Street Team, and Trenton Restorative Street Team. We collectively got together and decided to start meeting as men at the barbershop to discuss real things that affect men in Trenton. January was our month of collaboration. February, we started the event. We've had it every month for the entire year. This is our 11th month doing this consecutively. We will be having the barbershop conversation next Friday, December 19th at 6 p.m. Razor Sharp Barbershop, 20 Passaic Street. What we do there is we take a space that is already set up for men to be comfortable and communicate, typically one-on-one with their barber. And we've transformed that space into a space where men collectively discuss things that we need to deal with as men. We've dealt with things like mental fitness, financial fitness, physical fitness. We've dealt with domestic violence. We've dealt with, last month, we had a conversation how to cope with the loss of a loved one. And it's been transformative for me as a presenter. It's been a blessing to be able to participate in that. I'd like to give a shout out of thanks to Trenton Restorative Street Team. It's been a joy to collaborate with you guys. This month, the subject is going to be fatherhood. So we're going to be dealing with something that is affects all of us, whether we are fathers or whether we are sons, whether we're nephews or uncles. We have a role to play in the community. And so I just want to thank everybody for their consistent support, and we'll keep you guys posted on how things go. I do want to say this, 2026, we will be expanding to doing, taking our show on the road, as it were. So, so look out for that. Thank you.
Good evening again, everybody. I will be doing a St. Patrick's report that I left up here. But I do want to apologize ahead of time. I have to go out. As chairperson of Fathers of Men United, I have a financial duty meeting that I have to attend immediately after this, so we can continue to help Trenton Community Street Team grow and partner and help people in the community. St. Patrick's report out. Trenton High main campus, 2,300 students. Ninth grade academy, 989 students. Capital City High School, 665 students. Al's Youth Institute, 35 students. Altogether, me and my staff is responsible for making sure the safety of each and every student, which is a total of 3,789 students, get in and out of school safely on a daily basis. And I can honestly say to this day, my staff is doing a wonderful job. Are we perfect? Not by a long shot, but we all are committed in this cold weather. This come outside, it's 22 degrees, director, to make sure we're on post and we're not only professional, but we're building relationships with the youth and their parents. They feel safe dropping their kids off at the school because they see us out there. The kids feel safe going in school and out of school because they know we're going to be out there. We only had last month 2 incidents. They both was on the same day. We had, no, it was 3 incidents. One was an adult, because we do more than just St. Patrick's, and I want to thank them. At Trenton High on the corner of Hampton and Greenwood, we had an adult hit by a car, and the staff up there had to call the EMTs and make sure he was safe and communicate to his family what happened, that he's okay, what hospital he went to in a professional manner. Ninth grade academy, my grandkids, we had 2 fights in the same day during dismissal. One happened right in front of the firehouse, which we responded to, and we did crowd control and helped school security secure it. And while we broke that one up, behind the 509 building on the other end of Perry, a young lady got jumped. We was able to get her safety to the nurse office inside the school and communicate with administration. And we was in the process of doing a mediation with both of them incidents. They both was young ladies. The one lady used my phone to call her mother, and we're in contact with the mother to do mediation with the situation to keep it calm. Right around the corner, Capital City High School. For those who don't know, the old Daylight Twilight is now Capital City High School. As you know, in this downtown area, we have mental health challenges and substance abuse challenges. We had a young man that was wasn't feeling no pain, for the lack of better words. He wasn't feeling no pain, but he was exposing himself to the youth, and which is not cool. And I hate to pinpoint one person, but we have a young man that we just hired. This was his first week on the job, Mr. Yori. Mr. Yori did a great job. Mr. Yori did a great job on that day, making sure that the young man got himself together and got away from the youth. And all my staff, safe passage, stand up. Those who present, please. Those who are present, please. Those are the young people that we're out there, and we're just trying to not only be positive role models, but plant positive seeds in the kids. So I just ask you to continue to pray for Trenton Community Street Team, and we continue to pray for y'all.
All right, thank you. Welcome again, everybody. I'm T.H.E.S.I. for everybody who don't remember. This month, we are going to highlight our health spotlight for the month is HIV awareness. The month of December is celebrated by highlighting the challenges that we actually face with people infected with HIV and even being aware of that information. So I'm going to share just a little bit of statistics from the state of New Jersey's Department of Health and the Center for Disease Control. Okay. December 1st is actually World AIDS Day, for everyone who didn't know that. So the New Jersey Department of Health joined the worldwide observance of World AIDS Day this year in remembrance of those they lost to HIV. This year's theme was Overcoming Disruption, Transforming the AIDS Response. It is estimated that nationally 13% of people infected with HIV do not know their status. This is according to the United States Department of Health and Human Services. More than 36,900 New Jersey residents are currently living with HIV. These statistics are from 2023. These are the most current stats that we have available at this time. So with that being said, we sure to know that this number has increased over the past 2 years. So far in 2025, over 5,600 patients received HIV-related medications and health insurance coverage through the New Jersey's AIDS drug distribution program. This department is addressing critical gaps in healthcare coverage for lower-income people like the residents in our city with HIV through the Get Covered New Jersey insurance plan, and this is all through Medicaid. And their goal is to improve data systems and piloting new efforts to reconnect people with appropriate HIV services. I wanted to highlight, unfortunately, you cannot see that I did write down the New Jersey AIDS HIV STD hotline number. This is a 1-800 number. Their services are free, confidential, and available 24 hours a day to connect individuals to prevention, testing, and treatment services throughout New Jersey. I also printed out this information from the CDC. I actually just went on the website and typed in how you can get tested in the area of Mercer County. I put in 08618. So we have over 10 different locations where you can receive free testing and information in regards to HIV. For more information on New Jersey Department of Health HIV services, you can visit nj.gov/health/HIV. And I want everybody to please remember that health is wealth. Thank you so much, everybody.
If we can give TCST another round of applause. Before I call up our partners in the work, Church for the Street Team, I just want to say something briefly. A lot of times people ask, why are there 2 street teams in Trenton? That's not the right question to ask. The The right question to ask is, why aren't there more than 2 street teams in Trenton? The reason why, we are a population of 90,000 people. Between both street teams, we're about 50. If we have a lot of people who need services in our city, why are we underfunding street team work? We need to have 10, 11, 12, even 20 street teams because we all are trained professionals. When you think of public safety professionals, most people think of EMT, fire, and police. Let's switch that up. You need to think about street teams as being public safety professionals as well. We're going into dangerous situations without vests, without guns, without protection, except from our higher power. We come into this work utilizing our mindset, utilizing guidelines, SOPs, and data, but don't get it twisted. We're not volunteers. And people need to understand that with this work, if we continue to do what we're supposed to do like we will always do, this will be generational. There's many people here are going to replace me, replace him, probably next week. Because he keep on telling me every week he retiring. But Hogue ain't going nowhere. And to replace her as well. And so I want everyone to understand that in this space, in this street team work, there is no competition. It's collaboration. So if we're in the same mindset about elevating each other, why not do that? Why not collaborate? Why not elevate? Why not talk about the positive things that happen? Why not work together? I want the same thing for myself that I want for my brothers and sisters. And we're all connected. So with that said, Trenton Story Street Team, please come up and report out.
Hi, my name is Mike from the Trenton Story Street Team, HRI. So report out things that we had going on. 11/6, we had an outreach event at the train station. We was offering our services. November 7th, we did the same thing, but we were at the nursing home. You know, during the holiday times, a lot of older folks don't get a lot of their family members going to see them, so we go out, we do stuff like that for the older people. 11/12, we had our food pantry at GMZ. 11/22, we had the funeral for the young man Josiah McGeetry, yeah, when they passed away. Then 11/25, we had a balloon release for Breon Franklin, another young man that passed away. And then our last food pantry was on the 12th of this month at GMZ. Upcoming events, one thing we have upcoming is we're going back to the nursing home, you know, for the holidays. We'll be back there this Friday. The address there is 325 Jersey Street at the Riverside Nursing Home, and then we'll be at the Soup Kitchen, the T.H.E.S.I.S at the Soup Kitchen on Esther Street. That'll be next Tuesday at 11. Thank you.
No.
What? You gotta be quick. You said a minute, right?
Nope.
Did you say a minute?
Nope.
He did say a minute.
Nope. So let me state a fact for those who may not know. This man right here to my right is my brother. He's a legend in these streets. The reason why he's a legend, not only because he has a kind heart and he has a giving spirit, but he's a boxing world champion.
Yes.
So do me a favor, sir. There was a rumor. Somebody was telling me you might have a fight coming up soon.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I remember that. So yeah, I got a boxing match next Friday at the 2300 Arena on the Wallow and Gilly knockout card. I'm fighting some guy from Philly who's been on the internet running his mouth. You just don't know his mouth for him a check hanging with the cash. And ETA. That's all I'm gonna say.
So what one last thing? What is your record, champ?
Oh, 11-0-7 knockouts.
Oh man. Yeah, we once again we
I'm
got
sorry. We had a pantry every Wednesday at GMZ for my time church on Vincent Avenue, 34 Vincent Avenue.
yes.
At 1:30.
There you go. Once again, thank you, Trenton Short Street team. We look forward to continuing working together. Once again, we got to always elevate each other. I've been knowing this man for a good period of time. He's been volunteering with a lot of different people. I recall one time I called upon him to help out some of our senior saints. I don't call them senior citizens because they can fight. And with just one phone call, he showed up and to help repave a senior's driveway out in Trenton. Just one phone call. And I will never forget that. So I appreciate that, brother. So with that being said, we're going to move through our agenda. I don't see anyone here from TPD, if I'm not mistaken. No one? All right. Anyone here from City of Trenton? Well, y'all all Trentonians probably, but not City of Trenton. So with that being said, we're going to move through our presentation. You heard me speaking a little while ago about the gentleman who will be presenting along with his wonderful students and also those who are graduate students as well. Let me just give a little bit of background about the presentation you're about to receive. Once again, I've been setting this up for you all, but before I do that, there was a gentleman who walked in a little while ago that I reconnected with the last few months. I know that he's been out of town for a good period of time, but he's back in town. Even when he was gone out of town for those many years, his presence still was felt. I got a chance to connect with him on multiple occasions. I even got a chance to see him on Shark Tank. He's one of the successful individuals on Shark Tank. So I won't introduce him. I will let him stand up and say his name and just let him know that brother to brother, you appreciate it.
How y'all doing? Joel Griffith. Really happy to be back here in City of Trenton. What can I say? I've been gone for a while, but coming back and being around people, going to events like this, seeing all the work that's going on in the city, inspiring. I'm just super impressed about everything that you're doing with the street team, events, just everybody. It's been really great. So really happy to be home. Thank you for the support to partner with you for this.
Appreciate you, brother. So getting back into the work, we need to understand violence. You need to understand that violence isn't something that just happens overnight. You need to understand the science behind violence, because there is a science. You need to also understand a little bit more history about Trenton and understand that phrase that is on that bridge, Trenton makes, the world takes. And understand that when that sign was made on the bridge, it talked about manufacturing. It talked about different things that was made in Trenton. But I think we got to flip the narrative and really understand that Trenton makes, the world takes means Trenton makes great people. And the world takes from Trenton. Now it's time for the world to give back. And how we give back is collaborating, connecting. But that's a story for another day. But I want to make sure that we understand that it's not about being highbrow. It's about understanding what we're talking about and why data is important and why data will help us to support the work and why making sure that we have partnerships with academia like Mercer County Community College, like Thomas Edison State University, and like Princeton University as well is important. Because that credibility is important. We're trying to apply for more funding. Because we can say what we're doing, but we have to show our work, like they told you back in math class. And so we had to focus on having that. Yeah. You can write it down. So we had to combine both qualitative and quantitative. And for those who know what that means basically the heart, telling stories about what's going on in our community, but also connecting quantitative, the data. So with that being said, I would love to call up my friend, the great Pat Sharkey. Oh, I apologize. The great Dr. Professor Pat Sharkey.
So Perry said earlier that I'm a little bit shy, and that's kind of true, but the reason is Princeton gets an awful lot of attention. We don't need more attention on Princeton. We need attention on what goes on in this room and what's going on here. And I think, the first thing I want to say is that we just have such tremendous respect for the people in this room and for the work being done here. And that's the basis for this collaboration. That's the starting point. Perry and Heather and the whole crew have just been incredibly welcoming. And we're really honored to be with you today. And I'm thrilled that my students are here in the middle of finals. They're here at night with us today. So we're going to be quick. We don't want to hold up this meeting, but at the outset, I just want to say, so a bunch of you have the slides. Do we have, are those all distributed? They're going on. Okay, great. Yeah. The only thing I wanted to say before I turn it over to the students is just why we did this report. And I'll say for myself, the reason I started shifting all of my teaching and all of my research to the study of violence is because the more evidence I looked at, the more data I looked at, the more consequential violence looked. Okay, so we all know that in this room. We know the horror that comes with each incident of violence, with each shooting. But what we started to see in the data was that when there's an incident of violence, it reverberates throughout the entire community. It makes kids it disrupts sleep patterns. It makes kids less able to focus. It impairs cognitive functioning. And then it also undermines community life. It makes parents less willing to take their kids out to parks, playgrounds, and libraries, makes business owners less likely to set up shop, and ultimately affects the trajectory of an entire community. So I'm not going to dwell on that because I know everybody in this room knows that better than we should. That's not the only reason that we did this report. The second reason we did this report is because we're going to talk about those graphs in front of you and how violence in Mercer County is overwhelmingly concentrated in Trenton. Okay. The causes of violence are not concentrated in Trenton. Okay, this is a byproduct of urban inequality throughout this wider urban area, throughout the state and beyond. And we want to make that point explicitly. We're going to make it with data. But that also carries responsibility. That means the responsibility for dealing with violence is also not confined to the city limits of Trenton. It's a collective challenge. Okay, so this is like one tiny little step in at least bringing in Princeton University in this effort and bringing attention to what's going on throughout the county and what's happened over the past 70 years or so to create the conditions for violence to arise. Okay, and we do believe that the combination of knowledge on the ground with data that we can bring in from other sources, that combination is really effective. If nothing else, even if we don't learn anything more from this analysis, it does help to get the attention of people who make decisions, people who have resources that can contribute to dealing with this challenge. So with that, we've got a whole group of fantastic students with me. We've got students who are in a master's program in public policy at Princeton, undergraduates in the course I teach called Crime and Violence in American Cities. And they're going to tell you this story about the research we've conducted over this semester. So who's starting us off?
Sorry. Actually, yeah. Sorry, y'all. We're gonna have to connect the laptop and stuff real quick.
Or should we just talk
about it from the?
Yeah, and actually, I think you're kicking this off. The first two slides are, that's the kind of that you would pass it to us. Yeah. So.
You just said that, okay.
Okay.
Okay, then maybe we'll just move on to the.
Yeah, I would
Okay.
say, let's just go, and if you can follow along on your
Yeah.
handout.
Okay, so I'm gonna start talking from so it's the third page. It's the slide that's called the trend in homicides in Trenton and Mercer. Yeah, so here we just wanted to start by going into a little bit of the history. So looking into the data about homicides over time. So on this graph here, the bars are the number of homicides per year in Trenton since 1976. So I think you can see from the graph, the number of homicides has fluctuated from year to year over time, but it has been slightly increasing since the 70s. But I think what's most interesting from this graph, if you're able to see the orange line, it shows that Trenton has had an increased share of the total number of homicides in Mercer County over time. So in the 70s and 80s, only about 50% of all the homicides in Mercer County were in Trenton. And since the 80s, that's been more around 75 to 100%. So the number of homicides in the county has really concentrated in Trenton over time. And then going down to we might be able to, but going down to the next chart on the bottom. So the main point here is just to say that the exposure to gun violence in Mercer County, so this is using data based on the number of shootings in the last decade, is concentrated among a small number of people. So 80% of the shootings in the last decade occurred in an area that accounts for only 15% of the total population of Mercer County. And I'm going to pass it on to Blaine, who's going to talk about.
So this one, I want us to be able to look at this.
Yeah, this one is fun to look at.
We're on this one. Okay, this one's got a lot going on. We are zooming into Trenton here. These big dots show different amounts of shootings over the last 10 years. The bigger dots show that there were more shootings there than smaller dots. And we have a bunch of neighborhoods here. What we want to show here is when you zoom into Trenton, you can see that Trenton is disproportionately taking on more of the burden of gun violence. So more of the shootings across Mercer County are happening in Trenton than need to be happening. I'm sure you'll recognize some neighborhoods. Feel free to take a look, whether it's down at your papers or up here, about what neighborhoods are relevant to you, what places in the city matter to you, and how they might be affected by gun violence over the last 10 years. One of our major conclusions that we're able to find here is that 88% of the shootings that happen in Mercer County happened in Trenton. But unfortunately, only 24% of the population lives in Trenton. So a quarter of Mercer County lives in Trenton, but 88% of all of the shootings are happening there. So just a massive big difference between the amount of people that are here and the amount of shootings that are happening here. We'll move on and we'll talk a little bit about some of the details of how we got here and why violence is concentrated in Trenton. And specifically over time, these are three maps, one that's 1970, one in 1990, and one in 2010. And in the orange, you'll see kind of on your maps, it's a little bit, but the orange is showing high poverty areas over time. Yeah. Okay, the orange is showing high poverty areas over time, and you'll see that on Trenton in 1970. You'll also see that part get bigger and bigger as it goes through the years. The blue is areas that are high income, and those areas concentrated where you would expect them to be. So we can start to see how inequality is increasing and poverty is also getting more concentrated over time, and specifically on your city of Trenton.
All right, y'all. So we're going to present a brief early history of Trenton, but this is your history, and this is our first time really investigating it. So if we don't get it right the first time, we apologize. And if you have information that you want to share, we're open to feedback. So please keep that in mind. The story of Trenton as laid out by Clara and Blaine is not new. Concentrated disadvantage and crime in Trenton is not a new story. So we're going to start with the 1900s. The 1900s, Trenton is thriving, but not for everyone. There's 70,000 residents in the city, and 2,000 of them are Black folks. That means that if everybody in this room is the population of Trenton, only one person is Black. And so, and all of those folks are actually forced to live in a really small part of the city, the Swamp, Coalport, and Goosetown. The Swamp, people are called swampers that live there. This is early history, 1900s. Folks are called swampers, and they're relegated to only domestic service jobs, dishwashers, housemaids, laborers. And so because of that, there's a lot of poverty and income inequality in these areas of the city. In 1920, we have the first wave of the Great Migration. 6,000 Black Southern folks move into Trenton, and the population grows fourfold. But those folks do not have access to better jobs. They're in the same Trenton as the folks that were there in the 1900s, and because of that, they're competing for opportunity. And so all those same problems that are happening in the 1900s are worse. And all those folks are still living in the exact same neighborhoods, the Swamp, Coalport, and Goosetown. Which brings us to 1937. Redlining happens in the city of Trenton. And so if you look at this map, the areas that are red and yellow are considered hazardous and declining. Mind you, all these homes were built in the early 1900s. These are newer homes. The reason why they're considered hazardous and declining is because of who lives there. And so this creates a circumstance where whenever you're applying to loans for housing, you cannot get qualified for a loan in these neighborhoods. And so it creates the foundation for blight and inequality in these areas of the city and this urban core. Something important is that bubble map that we showed earlier about shootings. If you look at this map here, 60% of those shootings are actually happening in the areas that are red and yellow. So today's history maps on to the history of the 1930s. The 1940s hit, and the second wave of the Great Migration comes. The Black population's growing, that nucleus is growing, that urban core is growing, and we see that white folks start to move out of Trenton. We also see a growing amount of data. So in the 1940s, we start to see differences in arrests between white folks and Black folks. We start to see differences in education quality, and we also start to see, more specifically, like different types of employment that are happening. And with that, I'm going to pass it to Ryan, who's going to get into the 50s to today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to recognize, too, that this is a lot of these changes are the result of policy decisions that are being made at all levels of government, federal, state, and local. So in the 1950s, you start to see the subsidization and the acceleration of white flight and suburbanization, which begins to concentrate poverty even closer into urban core areas. As a result, you start to see new strategies coming out from cities in the state, investing in public housing. Here in Trenton, that looks like the creation of state and the expansion of state office buildings, a highway infrastructure project, Route 29, that kind of cut the city in half, disrupted people from the Delaware River, and really raised historic neighborhoods. They're kind of eroding out these former commercial corridors that were thriving areas of business, and transforming the city into more of a government-centered commuter town. And you see later on, 52% of the parcels in Trenton become tax exempt. This has a massive impact on public services, everything from education to street infrastructure to policing. And it just creates, this feeling of disinvestment in communities. This happens all over the United States, but it's definitely happening here in Trenton as well during this time period. And as we see with this disinvestment, it makes communities more susceptible and vulnerable to shocks. Things like the financial crisis and things like COVID, where after that you see spikes in violence because of the precarious nature that residents are living.
All right. Oh, sorry. Yes, sorry, not as us. Me and Maddie are going to briefly go over some of the details and circumstances around shootings and homicides, and then we're going to, as Director Shaw said, merge the qualitative and the quantitative and discuss the results of our interviews with T.H.E.S.I.S staff that we were lucky enough to have with data and research. So here you see the count of homicide victims by race in 2024. On the left, most homicide victims in Mercer County in 2024 were Black men. On the right-hand side here, there's the count of homicide victims by age in 2024. As you can see, the age groups of 25 to 34 and 45 to 54 are disproportionately represented here.
So this graph shows the percent of homicides in which the offender was using a gun. And so as you can see, there's an increasing trend. So prior to around 2000, generally less than half of homicides were committed using a gun. But gun-involved homicides have become more prevalent. And in recent years, the number has hovered around or above 75% of incidents of homicide. So our class was lucky enough to get to interview TCST members. Some of us interviewed people in their projects that they're working on. I got to talk to Ms. Deja, I don't know if she went, and see her working at a safe passage site. And so these are kind of some of our findings in our conversations on the immediate causes of violence. So one of the first ones is about unmet needs in neighborhoods. So as you're talking about, concentrated inequality kind of lends towards unmet needs. And they're intertwined at this neighborhood level in a cycle that adds up several factors, such as inadequate resources, insufficient job opportunities, affordable housing. Several layers kind of add up and create these environments. And then there's also the prevalence of guns and drugs. So referring back to the graph that you just saw, an increase in gun ownership has been contributing to the problem, and same with drugs.
Respondents also echoed a large body of research showing the importance of the built environment in relationship to crime and violence. There's a growing body of research that shows that physically deteriorating space, lack of green space, and physical signs of disorder can create conditions that allow violence to flourish and to spread. And to end on a more positive note, many respondents and many of the staff we interviewed mentioned the importance of community organizations such as TCST in creating strong community ties that will mitigate violence. And this backs up a large body of research of which Professor Sharkey has carried a decent amount of the burden, and it's still growing, about how community organizations have a causal relationship to decreases in violence. An increase of 10 community organizations per 100,000 residents is associated with a 9% decrease in the murder rate and a 6% decrease in violent crimes. And this is reflected by the data and also reflected by the qualitative interviews with respondents at TCST.
All right, so thanks guys. So we want to land on this last point, but just to reiterate a few key points. One, violence is overwhelmingly concentrated in Trenton because concentrated poverty happens in Trenton, okay? Concentrated poverty happens in Trenton because of decades of public policy that comes with disinvestment. That disinvestment takes place at the county level, it takes place at the state level, it takes place at the federal level. This is a story that is common to urban America, okay? And so this similar story is told in lots of major cities, particularly major cities with large Black populations that have been the objects, places of disinvestment for decades now. This is a consequence, okay? So when we say that the story of violence in Mercer County is one of concentration of violence in Trenton, we also need to say explicitly that the responsibility for that is broader than Trenton. It is a byproduct of urban inequality. And that's the core message that we took from this analysis and from the history that the students told in these interviews. To wrap up, there are substantial opportunities for progress, and the most important one is in this room. Perry mentioned that I've done work with lots of cities around the country. He has as well, by the way. He's a leader in this field throughout the country. And yeah, I love how he defers and kind of deflects attention elsewhere. But this man is inspiring people all over the country. Wow. What he has learned in that work, I know what I've learned in this work is that change starts in rooms like this. Okay. And this is not like a feel-good statement because we're in this room. This is the best evidence we have tells us that when community residents and local organizations mobilize and have the resources to do their work in a sustainable way, that's the most effective way to reduce violence while also building stronger neighborhoods. And that second part is important because police can also reduce violence, but the way that the police operate in American cities often undermines community life and doesn't bring communities together. That's a blanket statement, but I think that's generally been true over the past several decades. So we know that community organizations have the greatest capacity to confront violence. It works especially well if they're working with police, with city and county government. I know that is happening in this room because I've seen it. And this is based on the best data we have. Okay, so this is not a feel-good story. This is based on the evidence that has been accumulated over the past couple decades. The biggest challenge is that organizations like Building a Better Way for Trenton, like the Trenton Community Street Team, Trenton Restorative Street Team, have never been seen as a core institutions responsible for dealing with violence and all the challenges that come when we have extreme urban inequality. So what we hope with this report is that it starts a process where a broader set of people begin to recognize the value of the work being done by the people in this room and start to invest in it and see it as a core response to violence and urban inequality more broadly. I've seen that happen in lots of places. It has to come with a broader commitment, has to come with a commitment from policymakers and funders, because people in this room have the greatest capacity to control violence, but we've never given the people and organizations in this room the chance to play the central role to deal with this challenge. So that's what we're going for. We hope this report at least starts to get the attention of a few more people and bring attention to the work being done here, because I do think this is the path forward. Thank you.
Wow. I had a question for you, because you guys are right that obviously Trenton has been the upwards and a lot of colleagues. You mentioned that public policy plays a big part of that. Are you referring to things like mutual contributions, things like that that involve that much public here? And if that's the case, how do you reverse that from a policy standpoint, right? After decades of low-income housing being built in 7.7 square miles from other towns basically paying us to take on their low-income housing, how do you reverse that from a policy standpoint?
Yeah, such a great question. So there's a more recent regional contribution agreements as part of the Mount Laurel housing plan, where the most affluent communities in the state essentially said, okay, we don't want to build affordable housing, so we're gonna trade our units to other towns, to Orange, to Trenton, and that was happening for a long time. So that places like Princeton, and Harding Township and other more affluent places didn't have to let any build any affordable housing, didn't have to let any low-income people into the communities. So thankfully, we have a better law in place now. The latest Mount Laurel agreement doesn't allow for these regional contribution agreements, but that challenge, that's exactly what we're talking about when we say that the causes of violence in Trenton are found outside Trenton. Because when you have a housing system where you can zone an entire city, or 90% of township or the city, for single-family residents on a minimum lot size of an acre, sometimes 3 acres, sometimes 10 acres, then you can essentially determine who's going to live in that community and who's never going to have access to anywhere near that community. That statewide housing policy that creates concentrated poverty in places where there's rising rents, there's rising home costs all over, and there's not housing being built in the surrounding communities. So that's exactly what we need. I also wanted to ask my master's students who study this, how would you respond to that question?
I think one thing we saw, Ryan mentioned this, is The opportunity that the state has to invest in Trenton or not, given how many, roughly I think 50% of Trenton is a bunch of government buildings from the county, from the state, and all those government buildings don't pay taxes. So then Trenton doesn't get that money when they would otherwise, other towns, because they don't have as many government buildings, they get all those tax dollars, they go to schools, they go to roads, they go to healthcare, all the things. So as we met with some of the folks in the mayor's office and we spoke with them about, there's a challenge in like advocating for states to give the amount of money that Trenton deserves for how much they give to the rest of the city. And it just speaks to what you were saying, Director Shaw, that Trenton makes and the world takes, and that's one example. So maybe one answer I'd have is advocacy to the state for that more balanced way to fund Trenton.
I agree with
Yes.
It was assessed that the state was Trenton about $80 million. Taxable income is not paid.
Yeah.
Trenton, $40 million in the form of the MOU that you actually.
Yeah,
If
that.
And then $7 million in capital city aid, but that $45 million total is half of what the state should be paying.
Totally, exactly. Yeah, thank you.
Ms. Cooper, where does it get, when you send it to you, where does it land?
It's gonna land on your website. Yeah. No, this is,
And that's why
this is a collaboration.
you're the elder, because you ask the questions that we ask, and that's why Christians, that's why Pat's here, because they have to most respect for the work that we do. And I want to say thank you to you all. I know you still want to say it for the interact, but once again, thank you, thank you, thank you. So a lot of times, when you space, the subject matter is not the people. The subject matter is they can extract and make money from it. And that's the total opposite of how Princeton University came in. The relationship that I had and Pat has the honor, respect, and love of TCST, who's always asked, who's always ensured that it was respectful and that it was consistent with what we do. This isn't swooping down, dropping down, and then extracting and leaving. This is a continuous growing. We have a lot of plans to expand our relationship with Princeton University. When Princeton University planned to be a part of the Trenton Club. Because you're only a few miles away, but it seems like worlds away. Because of what happens in Princeton, it doesn't happen in Trenton. And things that happen in Trenton doesn't happen in Princeton, or it doesn't report. Let's be clear.
That part. Yep.
Because Princeton, for years, Trenton had a gang problem. Princeton had a gang problem. They had by the time it was P13. People didn't realize this wasn't even reported on. But at the same time, collaboration, communication helps our city. I want to say thank you again.
Thanks to all of you.
Students, thank you all.
Oh, yeah.
Great job. Cool.
So we're getting close to the end of our meeting. I want to give a special shout out to the graduate students at Princeton University. Specifically, I'll make sure I get the names, say it correctly. Clara and Balan. Did I say it right?
Close. Blaine.
Blaine.
Yeah.
Blaine. The reason why I want to give them a special shout out is this. A few weeks ago, we had a very intense conversation with the mayor, the police director, the chief of staff, and a few other individuals as well. And some of the things that came up wasn't always rosy, but it was honest and it was impactful. And I thank you both for extracting the information honestly and making sure it was shared honestly as well. Because a lot of times things are changed, the narrative change, information is put in, things are taken out, but you all were able to be honest brokers in this. So thank you both for that. Give a round of applause. The last thing is partners report outs. So any partners in this space, I know we're getting towards the end. I know a couple people to leave early. Is there any entities or organizations in this space that has information about anything that's coming up in the next 30 days. And we'll go around the room. So, Gulu, got anything? Okay. Going once, going twice. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Dean!
The college had an opportunity to receive funding and we took advantage of it. We know it's last minute, but I put flyers over here. We have an opportunity for free everyday entrepreneur program. It's going to start in January, so it's open to high school juniors and seniors and youth. So I'd say anyone from the age of 16 to ages like 18 years old are welcome to go. And it's going to be held here at the James Kearney campus. So it's going to be a high impact boot camp. So students will be provided with opportunities to learn, to put together their own business plan and about financial literacy. So they're going to be having these sessions on site in this building 2 nights a week, and 1 evening will be virtual. So it'll be Tuesdays and Thursday nights, 6 to 9 p.m., and the Wednesday session will be virtual. This will be January 20th through February 5th, happening right here, and it will all be free. So the flyer has more details, the contact information. Once again, this last minute, it will run, so we just hope to have enough people to fill it. So please pick it up and hope we can get right. You want the street team, that's why I want to come in.
She's smart.
And if the students don't have the device at home to do the virtual, they're still welcome to come here on that evening.
Yeah.
We have plenty of computers in this space, so they can just bring their own, headphones and still participate in the class if they can't do it themselves from home on the Wednesday virtual night. We'll make sure they can have that resource for them.
Thank you, Dean.
Thank you.
Moving around. MLK Day?
Yes. Hello, everyone. I just want to let you know that in partnership with the Trenton Community Street Team, we are hosting right here at the James Kearney campus on January 19th. Can we all say January 19th?
January 19th.
It is not a day off, it is a day on. We will be here for the 12th annual MLK Day of Service. And trust me when I tell you, it is going to be exciting. We have an amazing day of service plan, and we have an awesome youth event plan. So we want to give all of our young people out, young men, young women, because we have something planned for them that they will not forget. And it is going to be top of the line, amazing, with an impact that will blow the city away. So come on out. Did I sell it or what?
You did.
So January 19th, come on out. It's going to be awesome.
Thank
you. I think I did my job, right?
Yes.
We are started at 8 a.m. and we are going until 4. Lunch will be served.
It's catered? Moving on.
Registration will be up and running. We will have the flyers ready, so look out for the posting. The street team will have everything ready by the end of this week.
Nice. Moving on. Anyone else?
Agape, we are hosting free grief and grace support groups for this season. And I am the facilitator, and it's at my satellite site, which is Creative Change Counseling, Breckenridge Road. There are Tuesdays and Thursdays. I will make sure you guys have a flyer, as well as the HUD. It will be on the app posting those days. We want to try and let everyone know these services are free, FREE, and we all need them. And it's a place just to come and gather and not talk about the battle scars of what we're going through in the season of grief, which could be of any form of layer of grief. But we talk about the grief because most are in recovery from mental health and substance abuse.
Thank you.
I don't have anything coming up in the next month, but I am recruiting for
response team volunteer. So if anyone's interested in becoming an advocate to work with victims, survivors of domestic sexual violence and strangulation at the time of crisis at the hospital or police station, training starts March 10th. It's a 7-week intense 64-hour training that's conducted by me, and we have folks from the prosecutor's office, Judge Com, law enforcement. It's very intense. In order for advocates to meet with the victim survivor, they must complete this training. And so I'm offering it up. So I have flyers. If anyone's interested, please share. We're always looking for people, even though I have like 40, 50 people now. It's never enough because we are 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Perpetrators don't take off, so we usually. So if you know anybody, please just let me know. I have flyers as well.
My name is Nick Jackson. I'm a member of the Property Committee, not for President. On March 20th, we'll be doing the following Daughter Dance at the Lighthouse. So hopefully next month, we have the application, the form down.
Appreciate it.
This Sunday at Trenton Central High School, Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, we're having our annual Christmas concert with the Jenkins Brothers. And we are offering tickets to any resident that if they don't have the financial means to participate and come to the show. Our fraternity members have all bought tickets in advance, so we can give them tickets. Just get one of my cards, let me know who they are, and we'll put their name by the door, and they will welcome to come and enjoy a holiday concert. At 6 p.m., doors open at 5:30. Performance is at 6 p.m. at the high school in the auditorium.
You don't
have any.
Okay. So I'm about to get ready to close it out. Just two things I just want to share. Number one, December 19th, which is a week from tomorrow, TCST in collaboration with Mercer County Community College, also with our partners over here. Upward Bound. And we're going to be having a toy giveaway and a family meal. It's important not only that our youth receive a toy, but for some of them, this will be the only meal they're getting for the day. We want to make sure that we acknowledge that. And so, you know what kind of times we're in right now. You do know that they've been pulling back on everything. So for us, we're trying to figure things out because we always have a mark of serving 200 young people. And our donation of toys this year got cut by 75%. So instead of receiving nearly 200 toys, we received about 35. But where there's a way, we're going to make a way. So if you would like to donate a toy, a gift card, anything else, we will gladly accept at our location at 118 North Montgomery Street. But I want to say this, we're going to get there. We're going to make sure we reach that goal of making sure we have toys for 200 young people in our city because they deserve it. I will say it again, they deserve it.
Yes, they do.
I will close in saying this. In the report that you all have in your hand, I have to apologize because it only has one organization's name on there along with Princeton University. It's supposed to be also TCST, overall, ISLES, Fathers Men United for Better Trenton, and Building a Better Way for Trenton. I was late in my response and adding that in the email, so I do apologize. But we want to make sure that all partners in this process are acknowledged. So charge it to my head and not my heart. But we will make sure that when it's posted and when it's passed out to you all via email, that it has that as well. So I do apologize for that. Lastly, I want to say this. We look forward to seeing you all, God willing, next month. But these are the times where things are crucial for a lot of people. It's the holiday season. I know for a lot of us, we will go home to a warm house, a warm bed, and a refrigerator that's overflowing. Some people in our city will not. So I'm going to ask you not only to give and to receive, but also offer grace to people in our community. Also offer empathy to our community. And see people in our community, always. Don't see the behavior, see the person. Don't judge a person on their worst day, because if we all were judging our worst day, I ain't got to finish that sentence. But let's make sure that we extend the olive branch of love and peace to our neighbors, not just saying it, but putting it into action. So I just want to say this. My prayer to you all is a safe journey home, a safe time with your families for the holidays, whether you acknowledge the holidays or not, whether you celebrate Christmas, whether you celebrate Kwanzaa or Hanukkah, or just celebrate each other. Do so knowing that we are better when we give. We are better when we love. We are better when we show empathy. We're better when we show up for people. Because some people don't have anyone showing up for them. With that being said, I pray you all have safe travels home. I look forward to seeing you all in January. Thank you.
I do. They need to